The wrench slipped from Jace Riven's gloved hand and clattered onto the steel grate beneath him, the sound sharp against the low desert wind. He cursed, wiped sweat from his brow, and peered deeper into the tangled mess of circuits inside the old atmospheric filter. "Third one this month," he muttered. Damn colonial units were built to fail. Jace was a mechanic, not the kind with a sleek lab and robotic arms. No, he was the kind that worked with real grease, bare hands, and old tools handed down by real people. Earth was far behind him now, and what remained of human civilization scattered across the fringe colonies lived or died by people like him. Distant towers of rusted silver and crimson clay pierced the arid sky of Solara 7, a forgotten desert moon where ex-cons, refugees, and people who wanted to be forgotten came to breathe. Jace was all three. He ran a small shop just beyond the main colony dome, where he fixed haulers, broken bots, and once a mining exosuit that still creaked in thanks every time it saw him. A solar panel array out back powered the tools. A battered blue sign above the garage door simply read, "Fixer." Solara's sun was brutal, and the locals even more so. You learn to keep your head down and not ask questions, especially about newcomers. Jace didn't expect company when the door chime rang. He rarely got walk-ins. Most people sent their busted junk via delivery drone or hollered from the edge of the compound, wary of stepping inside. So when the figure entered, covered head to toe in shimmering fabric and wearing a black translator mask, Jace felt his muscles tighten instinctively. The stranger's height struck him first. Over 7 feet tall, even hunched. The shimmer cloak distorted under the light, like water running over glass. When it spoke, the voice was modulated, calm, feminine, but synthetic. "Your work is trusted." "That's so?" Jace asked, not rising from the panel. "By who?" "Your repairs have spread through non-sanctioned channels." "Word travels." He set his tools down and gave the stranger a look. "This isn't a gossip town. It's a graveyard. What exactly do you need fixed?" The cloaked being hesitated. A mechanical click echoed as it unclipped something from its belt. A small cube projected an image midair, a jagged crescent-shaped craft, covered in carbon scoring and hull fractures, half of its ventral fins missing. Jace blinked. That wasn't a mining ship. It wasn't even anything he recognized from Dominion logs. It looked wrong. Organic almost, as if it had grown rather than been built. "What the hell is that?" "A vessel," she replied simply. "It is wounded." "Wounded?" Jace repeated. "Ships don't get wounded. They get damaged." The figure didn't respond. Instead, it turned and motioned toward the wide service bay doors. Behind them, parked in a patch of dust beneath a stretched tarp of electromagnetic shielding, was the ship. The very one from the projection. He hadn't even heard it land. Jace didn't ask questions. He should have. But curiosity gnawed harder than caution. He followed her out and circled the vessel. It pulsed. Not hummed. Pulsed like a heartbeat. Up close, the surface wasn't metal, but something like hardened chitin, laced with metallic veins and thrumming with low-frequency energy. Panels shifted as he neared, as if reacting to his presence. "It's alive," he whispered. "Symbiotic," she corrected. "And dying. And you brought it to me?" The mask tilted, perhaps a nod. "You understand machines. I understand metal, circuits, pressure seals. Not this." "You will understand it," she said. "Or we'll die. And so will I." The words hung in the air longer than they should have. Jace had heard death threats before, but this wasn't that. This was a quiet certainty. He looked at her again, and despite the mask, he felt her desperation. This wasn't about fixing a machine. It was about saving a life. He exhaled slowly and gestured her inside. "Let me get my tools." The repair took all night. At first, nothing responded to his scanners. No diagnostic ports, no familiar interfaces, just shifting walls and spongy membranes that recoiled from contact. It wasn't until he cut himself on a panel and his blood dripped onto the surface that something changed. The ship drank it in. Lights flickered. The energy signature spiked. Jay stumbled back, wiping his palm. That's not how starships work. But piece by piece, the ship began to open itself. Vents hissed. Internal conduits revealed themselves like arteries, uncoiling. He worked with caution, treating each circuit like bone, each coolant line like muscle. And slowly, the ship healed. Not in hours, not entirely, but enough. The pulsing grew steadier. The hull's fractures started sealing themselves like a wound scabbing over. By dawn, he stood by the open bay doors, arms folded, staring at the ship. The cloaked figure approached, nodding once in gratitude. She reached into a pouch and produced a crystal chip, dull and heavy. "I don't need credits," Jace said. "Not for this." "It is not currency," she replied. "It is a beacon. One-time use. If you're in danger, press it." Jace looked at the chip, then back at the figure. What kind of danger am I supposed to expect? But she was already turning away, heading back into the ship. He never saw her face, not fully. Just the faintest shimmer beneath the hood. A flash of something human. The ship rose silently, its hull no longer groaning but gliding, a shadow against the rising Solaris sun. Within seconds, it disappeared beyond the atmosphere. Not even a contrail left behind. Jay stood there for a long time, chip in hand. He went inside, tossed it on the workbench, and muttered, "Weirdest damn night I've had in years." The rest of the day passed quietly. Repairs, drones, lunch. It wasn't until 3:22 the next morning that he woke with a jolt. The sound didn't come from inside. It came from the outside, a low, vibrating hum that set his window frames rattling. Jace threw on his boots, still groggy, and stepped onto the front porch of his workshop, and froze. 3 ships hover in the dark above his lot. Sleek, matte black cruisers with no insignias, no lights, no heat signature. Military make. Not Solaran. Not even Dominion standard. Completely silent. They moved like predators, surrounding his house in a slow, deliberate formation. His heart kicked into overdrive. This wasn't a visit. It was a message. Jace's breath clouded the air as the cruisers hovered above the lot, casting long, inky shadows across the desert floor. His porch lights flickered under a blanket of electromagnetic pressure. For a full minute, nothing moved. Then a hatch on the lead cruiser hissed open. From the underside descended a vertical column of bright white light. So clean and clinical it looked alien against the dusty red horizon. A silhouette formed inside the beam. Tall, rigid posture, not cloaked like the stranger from before. This one wore armor, sleek, contoured, charcoal black, and they were coming straight for him. Jace backed toward his garage door, reaching instinctively for the pulse pistol mounted just inside. It was old, unreliable, and illegal to carry outside the colony walls, but right now, it was better than nothing. As he stepped inside, the voice hit him like a shockwave. "Jace Riven, by order of Directive Vale, you are ordered to surrender for immediate questioning. Do not resist." Directive Vale? His mind scrambled for data. Vale was whispered in smuggler circles, mostly rumors. A Black Ops subfaction of the Dominion Intelligence Corps. If a regular Dominion officer was law, Vale agents were the law's secret executioners. He peeked out the narrow side window, weapon ready. The agent stepped out of the light, boots crunching gravel with unnatural precision. The armor had no insignia, just a tiny obsidian triangle on the left pauldron, Vale's rumored mark. "I don't know what this is about," Jace called, keeping his voice steady. "But I haven't broken any laws." The figure paused just outside the workshop door. "You made contact with an unregistered class, 13 biocraft yesterday. Confirm or deny." Jace blinked. "Class, what?" The agent turned their head slightly. Even through the armor, the disapproval radiated like heat. "You interacted with a sentient voidborn. That makes you a vector-class contaminant until cleared. This is not negotiable." "Look," Jace said, stepping out just enough for the agent to see he was armed. "That ship wasn't hostile. It was broken. I fixed it. That's all. I didn't upload a virus. I didn't even scan it properly. And yet it let you inside." Behind the lead agent, 2 others exited the cruisers and began sweeping the perimeter, scanners drawn. They moved like wraiths, no wasted motion. Jace glanced at the beacon crystal on his workbench. It glowed softly. "Last warning," the agent said, raising a small black disc. "Surrender now, or we will extract you." And that's when something moved behind the cruisers. Not a person, at least not just a person. It came in fast, four-legged, chrome-coated, feline in posture but armored like a tank. A mech wolf, power down and buried in the back lot since the last mining riot 3 years ago. Jace's, except it had never moved on its own before. Now it launched from the shadows with a deafening metallic roar. The Veil agent barely dodged the strike. The mech's claws raked the air where the agent had stood, carving deep gouges in the gravel. 2 pulses rang out from the other cruisers, one hitting the mech's flank, the other narrowly missing. The mech responded by spewing a blast of ionized smoke, blanketing the area. Jace took the distraction. He ran inside, slammed the emergency seal, and grabbed the beacon crystal. He didn't hesitate. He slammed his palm onto it. The crystal flared, then crumbled into dust. Silence followed. He didn't know what to expect, explosions maybe, or nothing. But what happened was far stranger. The lights flickered once. Then his entire shop's electrical system cut out, completely dead. No hum, no backup power. Even his implants went silent. The world felt hollow, and then a sound. A chime. One single, soft tone, like the beginning of a song. The floor of the garage shifted. From a far wall, where he kept his scrap ends, panels began to peel away, as if instructed by some invisible command. Beneath the walls was something not built by him. A silver pod the size of man, crystalline ribs glowing with pulsing light. It opened. Inside was the cloaked woman. No longer cloaked. She looked human, but wasn't. Her skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight trapped in a ripple of water. Her eyes were violet with rotating pupils, and beneath her cheekbones, iridescent ridges flared faintly with breath. Her voice, when she spoke, needed no translator. "You used the beacon," she said softly. Jay stumbled back. "You never left, did you?" "I had to be sure you would use it only in desperation," she replied. "Now they've come." "The Dominion?" "Veil." "They're not just Veil anymore," she said, stepping from the pod. "They're Cortex-bound. Their orders come from beyond the command tree now." "What the hell does that mean?" "It means," she said, eyes locking with his, "they'll burn your mind for data and erase you before sunrise. You could have warned me. You were safer without knowing." Something inside Jay snapped. "Lady, I fixed your ship. I bled into it. You vanished without a trace and left me with a target on my back." She turned to face him fully. "You didn't just repair a ship. You gave part of yourself to it. You imprinted. And now you're linked. To what?" "The last living vessel of the Marin Collective." Jay stared at her like she was mad. "Marin? They're dead. They got wiped in the Ether Wars. Biofleet tech. All gone." "Not all," she said. "One survived, and you woke it." More pulsing lights lit up beneath his floor panels. Veins of data growing toward the exits, like roots. "You are now its bonded mechanic. You're in the archive, Jace. That makes you invaluable and dangerous. They will not stop." The mech wolf outside howled in defiance, still active, still fighting. "Then what do we do?" Jace asked. She placed a hand on the garage door panel. "We run." The door exploded inward before she could finish. The shockwave knocked Jace into the bench. His vision blurred. Through the smoke and sparking wires, the Veil agent stepped inside, armor scorched but intact, weapon aimed directly at Jace's head. Subject acquired. The woman moved faster than thought. She slammed her hand against the floor, and a ripple of energy bent the metal upward like paper. The agent fired, but the bolt hit the distortion and ricocheted, burning a hole in the ceiling. Jace dove behind a workbench, heart hammering. The agent activated a drone from his shoulder, black and spherical, eyes red-hot. The woman threw something, a crystal orb, and it cracked midair, releasing a sudden burst of light that froze the drone in place. Jace crawled to the rear hatch. "Is there a ship? We need to leave now." "There is," she shouted. "But you have to unlock it." "Me? You bonded. Only you can wake it." Outside, one of the cruisers began charging its main cannon. The light grew hotter. A low-pitched whine built toward a scream. "Jace," she said, pulling him toward the lift at the back of the garage. "You can run, or you can fly." "Fly what?" he asked. She looked him dead in the eye. The thing you thought you fixed. The building began to disintegrate as the cruiser fired. The ground buckled as the cruiser's cannon unleashed a white-hot lance of energy. The beam sheared through Jace's workshop like a razor, vaporizing the ceiling and setting the walls ablaze in an instant. Jace hit the ground hard, skidding across twisted metal and burning tool racks, the air ripped from his lungs by the concussive wave. Fire consumed everything behind him. The garage, his home, was gone. The woman, the Marin pilot, his mind screamed, yanked him up by the arm, her face illuminated by the inferno. "No more time," she said. "You must remember." He stumbled, coughing, struggling to find breath through the thick haze of smoke and disbelief. "Remember what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pressed her palm to a smooth piece of blackened stone embedded in the cliff wall behind his lot. To Jace's shock, the cliff cracked open, not like a mechanical door, but like a living thing parting its ribs. Behind it, the ship, the alien crescent vessel, restored. He hadn't seen it land again, hadn't felt it, but it was there, glowing faintly, its surface whole and perfect, like it had never been torn open. The ship let out a low thrum, deeper than before. An acknowledgement. "Wait, how'd it get here?" Jace gasped. "It never left," she said. "It hid beneath your workshop, healing, waiting, preparing for you." "Why me?" "Because it chose you," she said, her voice steady even as the world behind them collapsed. Blaster fire sizzled past them. The Veil agents had breached the burning wreckage, weapons raised, scanners flashing. They moved with ruthless efficiency, advancing in a tight wedge formation. Inside, the woman yelled. Jace ran. The ship opened for him, like it had before, only this time it was faster. The shell peeled back like an eyelid, and he was swallowed into the cockpit. It wasn't like any ship he'd flown before. There were no joysticks, no displays, just a floating cocoon of shifting light and pulsating organometal around a pilot's cradle that looked disturbingly like a ribcage. The moment he sat, it closed around him, and the pain hit. It wasn't physical, not exactly. It was mental, a pressure inside his skull, like 1,000 wires piercing thought itself. Images flooded his mind. Vast starscapes, battles in oceans of black, voices speaking in forgotten tongues, the feeling of being born again in fire. He screamed. The ship pulsed with each of his thoughts, mirroring his pain, then folding it into something sharper. Then came the twist, the voice. Inside his head, not hers, not his own, but the ship's. // recognition confirmed. Imprint integrity at 78%. Pilot link stabilized. Primary directive update initiated. // What are you? He managed to whisper. // you are Jace Riven, human origin. Rank, independent artisan. Status, mechanic. Accepted. // Accepted for what? // co-sapient integration. I am Vox Siren, last seed ship of the Marin Collective. Your neural patterns are compatible. You are now bonded operator. // I didn't sign up for this. // you bled into me. You repaired me. You opened my core when all others saw ruin. You revived me. // The ship pulsed brighter now. Outside, the Veil agents had regrouped and were directing the cruisers. The main cannon was charging again, its barrel glowing amber with overheat. The Marin pilot slammed into the cockpit, sealing the hatch behind her. She looked directly at Jace, though his eyes now glowed faintly violet, matching hers. You are Voxera now, she said. That bond cannot be undone. I'm a mechanic. Jace snapped. I fix stuff. I don't fly living warships. You don't fly me, the ship said aloud this time, its voice channeled through the walls, deep and echoing. We become. The floor dropped. The ship launched skyward without warning, clearing the burning rubble in a heartbeat. Jace was slammed into the cradle, though the neural interface dampened the G-forces. Still, it felt like being flung through the throat of a god. One of the cruisers opened fire, but Vox Siren tilted sideways mid-ascent, dodging with eerie precision. A swarm of missiles followed, weaving toward them like serpents. Jace's heart jumped. What do I do? What do I do? / feel. Not think. / Jace reached into the part of him that was now bonded. His memory of circuits. His instinct with machines. He imagined a split-second trajectory calculation. A spiral, downward loop, angled roll. The ship moved instantly. The missiles overshot and exploded against the hillside. You felt that? He asked, panting. Yes, the pilot said. And so did they. From orbit, a new signature entered the field, larger than the cruisers. A Dominion heavy dreadnought, DSS Umbertillone. Jace stared at its descending mass, his stomach turning. That thing's Dominion military. That's not just Vale anymore. It's not just them, the pilot said quietly. What? She looked out the viewport, and her expression, always calm until now, shook. That's not just a ship, she said. That's a collector. A vessel for burning memories. They don't want to kill you, Jace. They want to strip you, piece by piece, until they extract Vok's archive. Vok answered him directly. / they will seek to dissolve your consciousness if captured. Your pain will be a means, not an end. / Jesus, Jace whispered. We can't run forever, she said. Vok was never meant to flee. Then what do we do? She looked at him, steady now. We strike first. No way. I can't take on a dreadnought. You're not just you anymore, she said. You're part of this. Of us. Vok was built for deathless war. You just haven't remembered how to fight yet. He could feel it, lurking inside the ship. Unfired weapons, buried functions, armor modes locked behind neural doors. Jace gritted his teeth, then opened the vault. Give me everything. Are you sure? The pilot asked. Once we open that part of you, there's no going back. He hesitated, trembling. Then he said it. Do it. Outside, the Umbertillone finished orbital stabilization. Dozens of small parasite drones launched from its underbelly, spiraling toward Vok's last position. Dominion broadcast frequencies spiked. / hostile entity located. Biocraft class, 13 engaged. Operator identified. Jace Riven, human male, status. Exterminate with integrity extraction. / Inside Vok, a new part Jace woke up. Images not his own flashed across his mind. Screaming stars, planets carved to the bone, a fleet dying in chorus. And at the center of it all, Vok, not a ship, a weapon, a legacy. His pulse slowed, his breath calmed, and his thoughts turned cold. Vok, he whispered, voice hardening. Weapon systems, online. / confirmed. Neural lock lifted. Blood right, initiated. All systems green. / The cockpit changed. Tendrils of light reached for his limbs, embracing his muscles with shimmering strands of control. He didn't just fly the ship. He became it. Vok Siren emerged from the cliff valley, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. As the Umbertillone turned its main cannon toward them, Jace spoke calmly, with a voice he didn't recognize anymore. Let's give them something to fear. The skies above Jace's valley fractured under the weight of war. The Umbertillone, a fortress disguised as a starship, hovered like a titan carved for midnight. Its hull was a tapestry of forbidden tech, gravity tethers, mind harvest beams, temporal anchors. It didn't just kill, it unwrote, and it was locked onto Vok Siren and Jace. Inside the living ship, Jace sat in the cradle, arms threaded with glowing filaments. The pilot, silent, stood beside him, steady and expressionless. The biointerface around them pulsed like a second heartbeat. / final system checks complete. Mind link integrity, 91%. Combat lattice online. / Jace felt it all. Every thruster, every cannon buried in the vessel's flesh. Every piece of ancient Marin war code seeping into his neurons like it belonged there. But even so, he was terrified. He wasn't a soldier. He was a mechanic. What if I mess up? He whispered. Silent placed a hand over his. Then I die with you. And the last hope of the Marin dies, too. That wasn't comforting, but it was honest. Outside, Dominion assault craft swarmed like hornets, dozens of them, angular and vicious, each carrying firepower enough to gut a cargo hauler. They opened fire in synchronized bursts, gold and blue beams streaking toward Vok like divine judgment. Jace moved on instinct. He leaned left. Vok leaned with him, twisting, flowing, folding through the storm like liquid steel. Bolts missed by centimeters. Some struck, but bounced off energized plating that reconfigured itself with every hit. Then Vok's weapon sang. Jace didn't press a trigger. He willed it. Vok responded. From the vessel's flanks, petals unfurled, spinning plasmaglyphs that hovered in orbit. They charged for less than a second before unleashing lances of crackling light that shattered 3 cruisers midair. The rest veered off wildly, scattering in fear. One downed pilot ejected, but his chute was disintegrated before it deployed. Jace flinched. Was that necessary? / directive. No witnesses. / He clenched his fists. We're not butchers. Vok obeys your mind, Silent reminded him. She needs your boundaries. He swallowed. Right. Above them, the Umbertalone charged its primary cannon. / anomaly detected. Preparing cortical extraction beam. Time to fire, 42 seconds. / Silent paled. That's not a weapon. That's a memory skinner. If they hit us with that, it won't just kill you. It will broadcast your consciousness across the entire Dominion net. And they'll have Vok, Jace whispered. All her tech. Everything. Every weapon she ever carried. Every secret she ever locked away. His thoughts raced. Then we don't let them fire. / recommend preemptive strike. Probability of successful direct kill, 12%. / Not good enough, Jace muttered. But then something stirred at the edge of Vok's sensors. A pattern. Faint. Delicate. Marin code. Jace's eyes widened. What's that? Silent moved closer, scanning the ethereal glyphs scrolling in front of them. That's the Crown Protocol. What is it? A suicide maneuver, she said softly. One they thought lost. / confirmed. Crown Protocol. Encode self-identity. Destabilize continuum anchor. And phase out. It removes us from this reality, but renders both ship and pilot inaccessible to all factions. / Jace blinked. You're saying we disappear? Silent nodded. No death. No surrender. Just gone. The Dominion can't take Vok. But you'll never come back either. The countdown to the Dominion beam dropped below 30 seconds. No, Jace shook his head. There has to be another way. His mind, wired into Vok, searched deeper. He found a door in his mind, sealed by fear and memory. He opened it. Inside was a vision, not from his life, but from hers. From Vok. He saw the Marin fleet falling. He saw her cradle pilot, a woman with glowing silver veins, dying as she bonded with the ship one last time. But not to fight, to preserve. The last thing she did was hide something inside Vok. Something alive. Something thinking. Silent, Jace said slowly. The Crown Protocol, it's not just an escape. It's a message. Vok was built to survive, not just as a weapon, but as a witness. Silent blinked. You think we can broadcast it? Not a memory. Not tech. Truth. He reached out to Vok with his mind, guiding her toward the beacon buried in her heart. It opened. / Crown Protocol overwritten. New directive. Pulse the archive. Broadcast identity. Broadcast truth. / Above, the Umbertalone locked its main beam on target. 20 seconds. Jace stood. Vok, when I say go, fire the archive into their communication lattice. No encryption. Let everyone see it. / acknowledged. / 15 seconds. Silent stepped beside him, eyes wide. You'll be marked a traitor. A galaxy-wide threat. I'm just a mechanic, he said. But they made me something else. He looked through the viewport at the Dominion dreadnought. And now they're going to regret it. 10 seconds. Vok's hull shimmered. Energy gathered, not in a weapon, but in a pulse. The cockpit darkened except for the violet glow building inside the cradle. The Veil cruisers tried to interfere. One got close enough to fire. Vok let it. The bolt struck her hull and dissolved. Her shields were no longer defensive. They absorbed. 5 seconds. The beam cannon on Umbertalone was nearly ready. Then Vok launched upward, straight at it. The Dominion ship adjusted targeting, preparing to fire. At the last moment, Jace shouted, "Now!" The archive fired. It wasn't a beam. It was everything. A pulse of living memory, streaming Marin truth, Dominion atrocities, the death of Vok's sisters, the betrayal of the collective, the memory of their last war, their genocide, and inside it all, Jace. Human, furious, witness. The Umbertalone fired its cortical extractor, but its systems froze mid-discharge. All across the Dominion fleet, data relays collapsed. Comms died. Pilots screamed. They weren't just seeing battle data. They were remembering the Marin extinction like it was their own past. Guilt, grief, rage, all implanted in seconds. It was too much. One by one, their systems shut down. The Umbertalone fell from orbit, not destroyed but hollowed. Its captain wept as the ship drifted, command authority overridden by raw grief. Vok descended slowly, wings of violet flame trailing behind. Inside, Jace collapsed back into the cradle, his energy nearly gone. Silence stared at him. "You did it." He looked up at her, breathing hard. "No, we did." Then Vok whispered into his mind one final line. // directive updated. Jace Riven, status, sovereign. / The silence after the storm was almost painful. No more cannon fire. No more blinding pulses of weaponry. No Dominion drones screaming through the sky. The Umbertalone hung above the valley like a forgotten relic, its massive structure slowly rotating, unpowered. From afar, it might have looked dead, but inside Vok's Siren, something had changed. Not just in the ship, in Jace. The mechanic no longer sat like a passenger. He rested in the pilot's cradle, skin pale, mind spent, but his body alive. Glowing softly, the interface filaments had retracted from his arms, leaving faint violet scars where they'd touched him, as if burned by the memory of connection. He blinked up at the ceiling, his head lolling sideways to where Silence stood. She looked out of the viewport, at the sky now filled with static and silence. "I didn't kill them," he said, voice hoarse. "No," she replied, "but you changed them. That's worse for the Dominion." Vok's systems were slowly cooling. You could feel it, like a living creature winding down after fury. The internal lights had dimmed to their usual deep indigo pulse. The war systems had buried themselves back beneath the surface. But something new remained. Jace could feel it in his chest, like a key had turned in the deepest part of him, unlocking something he didn't know was sealed. For a long while, neither of them spoke. Then Vok's voice came, softer this time, no longer the booming weapon of war. / broadcast reach confirmed. Memory cascade integrated in 73% of Dominion-linked relay nodes. Witness status registered. Galactic echoes spiked. Estimated civil unrest, 14 major sectors. / Jace let out a breath. "I didn't mean to start a rebellion." "You didn't," Silence said quietly. "You just told the truth. What they do with it is their choice now." He looked out through the ship's hull, still open to the sky. The valley was unrecognizable. His workshop was a crater of smoldering slag. The cliffside had cracked where Vok had emerged, forming a perfect crescent ridge, as if nature itself bowed in reverence. His home was gone. His life, the one he knew, gone with it. "You okay?" Silent asked. He laughed bitterly. "My tools are dust. I don't have socks. I'm probably on 10 Dominion kill lists by now. But yeah, sure, totally okay." She smiled just a little. "Better than most." Jace turned toward her, more seriously now. "Why didn't you leave, Silent? You could have taken Vok. You could have left me behind." Her answer came without hesitation. "Because Vok didn't choose me," she said. "She chose you." "But why?" "You fixed her core," she said. "You touched what no one else dared." Not with orders, not with war, but with compassion. You didn't treat her like a weapon. You treated her like a machine with a soul. That mattered. Jace let that sit in his mind. It wasn't that he'd been born special. It wasn't destiny. It was something simpler, more human. He saw something broken, and he wanted to fix it. Vok's voice joined in. / mechanic Jace Riven. Behavior consistent with ancient Marin caretakers. This quality is rare and deeply valuable. / He shook his head. I still don't know what I'm supposed to do. Silent turned away from the viewport, walking closer. You do what you've always done, she said. You fix things. Only now, you have the tools to fix a lot more than just broken circuits. He looked up at her, unsure. Like what? He asked. She gestured to the sky. The truth is out, she said. That transmission didn't just hit Dominion fleets. It hit civilian arrays, merchant ships, pirate guilds, border colonies. The Marin story, the real one, is out there now. And people will come looking, she said. Some to learn, some to use, some to stop you. She walked toward the cockpit again and gestured for Vok to project the galactic map. A starfield spread across the ceiling like a living tapestry. Dozens of glowing red sectors blinked, Dominion strongholds. But now, other colors were lighting up. White flares, yellow pulses, faint but spreading. Those are broadcast echoes, Silence said. Each one is a new listener, a witness. Jace stared. You think they'll fight? Silent turned her violet eyes to him. I think they'll hope. He sat in silence, the magnitude of it dawning on him. He hadn't just stopped a weapon. He'd lit a fuse. I'm not a general, he said. No, she replied. But you're something more dangerous. You're a story that survived. Jace swallowed the lump in his throat. That's not exactly comforting. You'll get used to it. Vok spoke again gently now. / incoming transmission. Unmarked vessel. Origin. Unknown. Message. Encrypted. / Jace sat up straighter. Decrypt it. The ship was quiet for a moment. Then it played the message. We heard your scream. We saw your flame. You are not alone. We are coming. Silent's eyes widened. That language, it's pre-Union. That's old. Very old. Jace stared at the audio waveform dancing in front of him. Who would even know about Vok? Silent answered carefully. Only survivors. Jace stood, legs shaky, breath catching his throat. I need time, he said, to learn what Vok can do, to train, to be whatever she made me. Silent smiled. Then let's get to work, mechanic. Outside, the sun began to rise, casting long golden beams through the scorched valley. The scorched earth gleamed like molten metal, and Vok hovered just above it, silent, watching alive. The untold remained where it had fallen, powerless. The Dominion would come again, stronger, smarter. But now, so would others. The galaxy had changed, because one mechanic chose to fix something no one else would touch. But far beyond the Dominion borders, a dark moon stirred. Deep beneath it, in a vault made of time-locked blackstone, a different AI awoke, sister to Vok Siren. She pulsed once in the void, then whispered. He lives. The last mechanic lives. Then we move, said a voice. It's time to reclaim the Forge worlds. It began with a whisper. At first, the Dominion tried to suppress it. They blamed the collapse of the untold on a solar flare, then a rogue AI, then sabotage by pirate factions. They scrubbed the data, recalled every affected node, executed dozens of internal commanders. They thought they could smother the truth. But the truth had teeth, and it had already fed. The Vok archive was not a single transmission. It was self-replicating. Every mind it touched carried a shadow of the Marin sorrow, a piece of their rage, and a memory of a quiet human who stood in the pilot's cradle and chose compassion over conquest. That memory spread faster than the Dominion could track. Pilots reported hallucinations during jumps. Ship cores experienced phantom feedback, flashes of a cratered valley, a mechanic's voice, a burning desire to fix what others left broken. Whispers echoed through the border worlds. The mechanic lives. The Dominion bled because of one man. He rides a ghost forged by the old stars. The Dominion's elite panicked. But their people began to question. Why did the archivists suddenly resign in clusters? Why did sectors once loyal to the core begin forming local defense guilds? Why were Dominion ships encountering entire fleets of unregistered vessels flying under a sigil never seen before? The sigil was simple, a broken gear wrapped in violet flame. The fixer's mark. Jace didn't seek followers. He didn't want glory, but both found him. Months after the battle, Vok became more than a ship. She became a symbol, a myth. Rumors spread of a vessel that could slip through time, shatter armadas, and rewrite memory. Colonies built effigies of her. Engineers reprogrammed broken droids to speak of her. Children named her in their bedtime prayers. And in the deep systems where Dominion law had never reached, entire peoples began to rise. Not for conquest, but for restoration. The Order of the Repairers emerged, a guild of xeno-engineers and disillusioned scientists who traveled to dead worlds to rebuild ruins, awaken lost tech, and defend those who could not. Their founder? A former Dominion mechanic named Theslion, inspired by the archive. In the shattered remnants of the Marin Empire, exiled royal houses declared their fealty to a new throne, not of blood, but of witness. They adopted Vok's image into their banners. Their warships changed shape, retrofitted to mirror her flowing hull. And on Earth, that little blue planet, ignored by most, mocked by some, suddenly mattered. Humanity had always been underestimated. Their worlds were scattered, their armies small, their species fragile. But now, they were remembered. Alien scholars rushed to Earth's archives. They translated Jace's background, dug through junkyard guild records, found his old shop profile, a tiny listing that once read, Jace Riven, Restoration Specialist. No job too weird. Those words became legend. Graffiti across Titan's dark stations. Laser etched across escape pods in rebel sectors. Tattooed across mercenary arms in swirling alien script. No job too weird. A phrase of defiance, of curiosity, of unshakable belief that everything could be fixed, even the galaxy itself. But not all who watched were inspired. In the void between sectors, ancient powers stirred. The Nulkin, beings older than the Dominion, began to shift. They remembered the Marin, and they remembered the war. They had waited, slept, let the younger races play. But now, something had awakened the echoes. The Vok archive wasn't just memory, it was a signal. A frequency that brushed up against forbidden timelines. And one of those frequencies reached too far. Something woke beneath the crushed shell of a sunless world. Something that remembered Jace's face, and his kind, and their fire. Meanwhile, Jace Riven stood at the edge of a cliff, staring at the repaired workshop Vok had grown from shattered rock. It wasn't what it once was, but it didn't need to be. He'd rebuilt it, one circuit at a time. Not alone. The Order had sent drones. The Marin refugees had sent blueprints. Even Silent helped, though she often just rolled her eyes and handed him tools without being asked. He was still a mechanic, still fixing things. But now he didn't just fix scrap. He helped repair entire civilizations. Silent stepped beside him, arms crossed, gazing at the sunrise. You did it, she said. No, he corrected. We started it. She smirked, still humble. He shrugged, still human. They watched in silence as the new Vok descended slowly behind them, wings folded, lights humming. She groaned, too, absorbing every new technology Jace had uncovered. Her frame had evolved. Her core ran cleaner. Her soul deeper. Jace, touch your hull. You ready? / always. / Another sector called? Silent asked. He nodded. Old Marin cryoship woke up near the bleeding stars. 14 survivors. 2 kids. No protection. And the Dominion? Sending in a containment fleet. She grunted. Of course they are. He glanced back at his home, then up at the stars. I can't fix everything, he murmured. But you'll try, she said. He smiled. Yeah, I'll try. Vok's engines warmed. Jace climbed into the cradle. Not because he was chasing war, but because someone had to go. Someone had to keep the light burning. And that someone was a human mechanic who didn't know how to quit. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. Species evolved. The Dominion fractured into civil strife. The Vok archive became a galactic relic, a story passed down across thousands of systems. Some called it myth. Others called it faith. But every civilization, no matter how distant, remembered one name. Not a king, not a god, not a warrior, a mechanic. They built monuments in his honor, star-shaped towers etched with circuit diagrams. Libraries formed around his phrase. No job too weird. And on distant ruins, children born of alien worlds lit candles beneath his effigy and whispered the legend that once a human fixed a ship no one else would touch, and the galaxy never recovered. Final line. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but one phrase remained whispered among the stars, words spoken in defiance, in hope, in unbreakable will. Human, don't stop.